So, welcome everyone to your practice. Take a comfortable seat, pulling the flesh away from your sitting bones. And then we'll begin class this morning by taking our palms together in Anjali. And then we're going to open up our three middle fingers. So, opening those three middle fingers up, it's called Lotus Padme Mudra. And we'll root them at the heart. This energy is this energy of claiming how we make use of the mud and how do we deal with the mud. For the lotuses are amazing in the way that they actually blossom in an incredible amount of mud. So we'll work with that this morning. So open those three middle fingers, place them at the heart, lift your spine and close the eyes, or you can stare at a point in front of you. The word compassion. Come means with in Latin, and passion comes from the root passis, which means to have suffered. So compassion literally means to suffer with. And in yoga, it's considered one of the highest practices, and actually in many different traditions around the world, it's a really revered and top practice. The word for compassion and this practice in yoga is called karuna. So as you close your eyes, come to yourself from this angle of compassion. And feel any ways that you might feel constricted, tight, muddy. And simply we'll take this angle of gently holding space for, suffering with, if you will. The with is allowing. The writer Rainer Maria Rilke said, "Let everything happen to you. The beauty, terror. Just keep going, for no feeling is final." And so often when we get stuck in the mud, it's getting stuck because we're not opening up to just being with the feelings and knowing then when we're with these feelings, they can come and go. Just like the poses, they take form and then they will dissolve. So 3 very present breath here. Fill it with the quality of compassion. At your own pace, breathe in 3 times. And then we'll sing the sound of Om. And when you sing, even in view the quality of compassion in your Om, and offer it into your little flower you've made, like a cup with the hands. So take a breath in, inhale. And you can seal the hands together and then compassionately, gently offer yourself this commitment to be fully present with what is and yourself for the next hour and change together. And then when you're ready, you can lift your chin and we'll start in table position. So take a towel or a blanket, place them under your knees. Again, if you have any kind of bathrobe strap or regular belt strap, make sure that's handy. If you like having blocks or props for the low back later, you can get 2 pillows or even stuffed animals can work. So have those handy as well. Bring your knees back behind your hips slightly, giving yourself space to be with yourself. Feeling the side body long, curl your toes under. Stretch your right leg out behind you. Keeping those right toes curled under. Take a breath and soften the right outer hip down to the floor with compassion. So the hips are squared. And then when you're ready, lift the low belly up. Squeeze the thighs to center and bend the right knee. The thigh is parallel to the floor. Inhale, stretch the right leg straight. We'll do 4 more of those. So bend the knee, inhale, look forward, exhale, stretch it straight. Reach through the inner heel. Feel the toes moving down, those toenails moving towards your shin bed. Bend the knee, inhale, exhale straight. 2 more, bend the knee, inhale straight. 1 more, bend the knee, inhale straight, and exhale. Now bend the knee to the side, so the right knee opens up to the side. Soften the front of your heart and sternum down and forward by taking the head of the shoulders back and away from the front edge of your sticky mat. Shoulders towards your hips. Smooth, compassionate inhale. Smooth, gentle exhale. Then stretch your right leg straight. 1 more time. Soften that right outer hip down with compassion. Release the right knee down to the floor, and we'll take a few rounds now of cat-cows. So inhaling, glide your heart and sternum forward and draw the head of the shoulders back towards your hips. Keep the gaze soft. Exhale, gently release the head to the floor. Jaw is soft. Inhale, look forward. Even as you look up, feel the creases in the forehead soft. Exhale, pull it in. Inhale, arms stay straight and strong, hugging to midline. Exhale, relax face, drawing the gaze to the belly. Inhale, smooth breath, feeling yourself, welcoming all parts of yourself. Exhale, that with compassion, meaning drawing all parts of you into center. Look forward, and when you're ready, curl both sets of toes under. Float the left leg out behind you, flexing the foot, reaching the left toenails towards the shin. As you breathe here and pull your upper inner thighs into center, feel that outer left hip, not open, but gently soften with compassion. That's the thing about mud even, right? It can get soft. How do we soften mud? With liquid. So make your ocean breath, ujjayi, liquid, smooth and present. And then any stuck places in the mind, in your psyche, in your heart, will start to soften. Then inhale, bend your back, left knee, heel to sit bone. Exhale, stretch the leg straight, toenails to shin. Inhale, bend, and exhale, straight. Inhale, bend, keep the left outer hip rolling down. Pull the right outer hip back as you straighten the leg. 2 more. Inhale, bend. Exhale, straight. 1 more, bend. Inhale, straight. Exhale, release the knee down. Now you're going to inhale. When you're ready, stretch the right leg out behind you 1 more time. And exhale, bend the knee 1 more time. Then stay here, rolling the outer right hip down, pulling the belly away from the floor. Come high on your left fingertips. Smooth inhale, working that balance challenge. Like a lotus flower, push your right palm down and forward, down and forward. Pit of the belly rising, last breath. Exhale, make your left palm flat, make your right knee down. Inhale, stretch the left leg out behind you. We're going to go to that 3-legged dog position, fire hydrant, by bending your left knee, opening up the hip. Breathing into the front of the left hip, pull the top of your shoulders back towards your hips. Smooth inhale, gentle exhale, sternum moves forward with soft compassion. Think with and bring all parts of you with you to the core essence of yourself. That's what lotuses do. They deeply burrow their roots so far down, grabbing that nutrients, press your 10 finger pads like roots into the floor, and then inhale, stretch your left leg straight, turn the toes down, release the knee down, come into some more cat-cows. I'll now invite you to go at your own pace. So breathing with spaciousness, inhale, looking up, exhale, drawing in. Take several rounds of your cat-cows and enjoy your breath. Feel again the quality of water in the flow of your breath. Each breath attempting to make it a little fuller, a little deeper than the last breath in your cat-cows. Do 2 more rounds of this watery, oceanic, committed breath. And then inhale, when you're ready, gently look forward. Exhale, stretch your left leg out behind you, rolling the left outer hip down. Bend the knee like you're standing on the sky with that back foot. Flex it, reach through the heel, and then play with the balance. That proprioceptive energy of coming high on the right fingertips and then noticing where my body is in space. So can you feel, bring all parts of consciousness with your body. Into the hips feel. Pull the right hip back and under. Sense now the difference between the left palm flat and your right fingertips high. Sense through the crown, reaching forward. Bring all parts of you in one cohesive whole with the breath, with your consciousness. And then exhale, release the palm down. Inhale, you're going to stretch the right leg out behind you. Then we're going to take it to a lunge. So you can glide the right foot totally through, heel to sit bone, or around the world style like that to find your lunge. You can have your hands on 2 blocks, 2 pillows. Even I had someone the other day have paint cans here that they use. So whatever works for you, or fingertips can touch the outside of the front ankle. Bending the front ankle deeply, slowly glide your pelvis in and down. So the sit bone squeeze in to midline, and then root the hips down like mud. Inhale, when you're ready, you're going to press the hips back. Flex your right foot, take both hands on your hips, rise up. I'm digging my inner front heel into the floor and pulling it back till I feel the hamstring, the upper right leg tone. Then flare your 4th and 5th pinky on the right foot, lift your spine, and then think mud hips, right? Find the nutrients, the life-giving power, and tuck the pelvis under, finding those glutes, lifting the chest. One more breath here, deep inhale. Smooth exhale. Now we'll come back to our table position. So place the hands palms flat, pull the right heel to your right sit bone, or again, you can go around the world style. Bend the right knee after you float the leg behind you in the 3-legged fire hydrant position. Inhale, lengthen your spine. Feel the sides of the body grow. Exhale, squeeze the knees, tuck your pelvis under, and pushing the palms down and forward. Take the right knee a little higher. Inhale, when you're ready, with the right knee out to the side, we'll take 5 clamshells here. So move the right knee more forward, flare those toes like a Spanish fan, and exhale, pelvis down, squeeze the right knee in towards your left thigh. Try not to let it touch the floor unless you really would like that support. Inhale, extend the leg up. Exhale, squeeze the knees, tuck your pelvis down. Inhale, stretch the leg up. Exhale, knee in, pelvis under. Inhale, let the upper inner right thigh lead the way. Bring it down. Inhale, lift. Last one, bring it down. Inhale, lift. Exhale, release the knee down. Inhale, slowly extend your left leg out behind you. Make sure the right toes are burrowing into the earth for that emergency brake-like support that creates stability through the whole right side body and hip. Then when you're ready, you can go around the world style into your lunge, or you can fly and float, heel to sit bone. Extend the foot forward. Find your props alongside the front ankle or the hands for a low lunge. Inhale, lift the spine up. Glide the tailbone down and feel the length through the sides of the body. Then exhale, hug the hips into center and root them down, under, finding the glutes and the buttock, those muscles that create a narrowing and a support as they reach for the earth. Smooth, steady breath here, bending the front knee a little more perhaps, unless the knee's vulnerable, then you don't bend quite so much. But hips stay releasing and flowing down. Breathe into the front of that right hip with compassion. And then exhale, lean the hips back as you flex your left foot, drawing the toenails towards the shin. The knee is bent, so you've got this. It reminds me of a lightning bolt shape here, and you feel the back of your left upper leg, those hamstrings, the three of them toning for pulling that heel towards the sit bone so fully. Lifting the spine, deep inhale, smooth exhale. Letting the breath be that watery flow that doesn't stop lapping. Commit to going with the breath. Come, that root from Latin, to be with. Come and welcome the breath with every moment as you glide the hips in and down, in and down. Last breath. Exhale, place the hands on the earth. Go around the world or heel to sit bone to stretch the left leg back. Bend the knee now in fire hydrant, softening the chest down and forward. Hug your outer shoulders back, flaring the left toes so the hip is engaging as you stretch. Begin to take the left knee more forward. Then we'll take the clamshell. So squeeze the upper inner thighs in, tuck your hips and pelvis down, and then exhale. Keep the hips heavy, squeeze the left knee into the right. Let the knee hover if you can, and if you need that touchdown, that's fine too. Be sweet with yourself. Inhale, lift the leg up. Exhale, bring it in. Squeeze the thighs. Inhale, stretch the knee up. Exhale, squeeze the thighs. Inhale, knee up. Exhale, squeeze the legs, tuck the pelvis under. Last one, inhale, knee lifted. Exhale, squeeze the thighs, tuck the pelvis under. Good. Slowly release the knee down. We're going to gently come to a seat now. And you might already feel your hips activated, waking up, pulling the flesh away from your sitting bones laterally. That means side to side, right and left. Feel how that helps elevate the low back. So from the rooting, grounding here in the hips, there's a ascending, rising patterning. Then digging the heels into the floor like we did before. Pull the inner heels towards your sitting bones and feel the upper legs toning. You can even touch your upper legs, the back of them, and feel that tone you're creating, that strength in the hamstrings. Taking the hands behind you, flipping the palms, face your hips, bend the elbows. Squeeze the elbows in so you can lift your chest, and then you can take the knees to the right, and then the knees to the left. Keep pulling the heels back towards your sit bones as you take the knees to the right, and then to the left, and then to the right, and then to the left. Then point the four corners of the kneecaps to the sky, bending your elbows one more time. Lift your sternum, lean back, and take your right foot off the floor. Bend the knee, open the hip up like a figure four by placing the right outer ankle at the base of your left quad. If the knee is vulnerable, move it towards your face more so you don't tax the knee joint. If it's not, you can press the right knee forward, leaning onto the right outer hip. Everyone, lift the back. Each breath, soften the elbows. Feel the blossom, that lotus heart, opening up from the power of going with the hips, rooting them down, descending through the hips to ascend and blossom the chest. Smooth inhale, present steady exhale. Now you can stretch the right leg straight and root that right heel, sitting bone distance here out to the right, and then inhale, left shin parallel to floor, bend the knee, heel to sit bone, and then placing the left ankle at the base of your right quad. If you need to take the right foot back a little, forward a little, you're welcome to give a little more space. Draw the knee towards your left side of your chest if that left knee is vulnerable, or you can press it wide. Inhale, lift the spine, bend the elbows. Exhale, squeeze the triceps behind you so the heart of the blossoms will open up petal by petal through the front chest. Descend the hips down. Feel that rooting of the hips, particularly your left hip here, will help blossom those lotus hips as well. 2 more breaths. Smooth inhale. Soft exhale. Steady, watery breath. 1 more inhale. And 1 more exhale. Well done. Now we're going to slowly come to the knees. So again, make sure you have a compassionate foundation here. And we're going to take our hands on our hips, curling the toes under. Inhale, take the hips to the left and to the right. Hug the knees into center as you do this action. So there's a stabilization, not letting the ankles sway apart. Keep the hugging into center, the width feeling. W-H-I-T-H rather, hugging in, width. And then you can start to make hip circles one way, like the new flowers that blossom in spring, right? There's a circularity to them, this energy patterning of circles. See if you can find that in the hips, and then you can go the other way. Good, you're gonna inhale now, take your right foot forward. So we're gonna flow the hips back, finding that curvature through the lumbar, low back, spine, and take the hips to the left. With the belly stacked more towards your left hip, you'll have freedom to lift your right foot and take it forward. Or of course, you can take it around the world. Lift your back foot up, heel to sit bone, exhale, touch down. Inhale, back foot up, heel to sit bone, weight the outer back knee a little more, exhale down. Good, 3 more. Inhale, long spine, lift the back heel up, exhale down. Inhale, back heel up, weight the outer knee, exhale down. 1 more. Inhale, back knee up, weight the outer knee, exhale down. Now you're going to lift the back knee up. Take a breath. Take that left foot behind you to the right. Inhale. When you're ready, you're going to extend your arms from your heart like wings. So they're parallel to the floor, those arms. Spread your fingers, feel the forearms tone, and lift through your chest. Smooth inhale, gentle exhale. Take a moment as you lift your spine. Hug your knees to center. Squeeze them in. Feel the back thigh roll in. Then find the mud through the front right hip, tucking down. Stretch in all directions from the midline, the central axis of the spine. Reach the middle fingertips apart. Reach your back outer knee and front right heel down, down, down into that earth. Good. Inhale, take your forearm to the thigh now through the right side. Take your left arm alongside the ear. Extended side angle pose. Deep breath. Breathe life force and length through the sides of the body so you feel your spine getting longer. Then exhale, hug your knees to center. Feel the back thigh continue to roll back, creating that curvature through the whole left side of the low back. And then tuck your front hip under, push your front foot down and forward. Stretch. Breathe with compassion. Inhale, when you're ready, stretch up, reach through those fingertips. Exhale, take your hands on the hips. Come back to that lightning shape pose where you're digging that right inner heel into the floor, pulling it towards your right sit bone. Lift through the crown of the head and turn the whole body and gaze to the left. Tone the belly, lift through the spine. Deep inhale, you can stay here. If you'd like more, challenge through the arms. Make your arms like a sleepwalker parallel to floor. Hug the shoulders back so the arm bones go into the sockets and away from your ears. Good. Inhale, lift through your pinkies, stretch up. You might even, when you take the arms overhead, like an Urdhva Hastasana here, upward facing salute, pull the belly back and lean back a little bit more. Lean, lean, lean if the lumbar spine is not vulnerable. If it is, just keep it straight with the pinkies reaching up to the sky. 2 more breaths. What can descend? The hips, the right outer heel, the back left knee. What can ascend? Lift through the chest, blossom your heart and upper body open. Inhale, bring your palms together at heart center. Root the right foot into the floor. Carefully lift your back left foot up behind you and point it behind you once again. Inhale, stretch the arms up overhead, shoulders rooting, breathing into the front of that left hip with compassion. Again, harness that quality of compassion. Whatever it means to you, find an attitude of compassion towards yourself, right? You're bringing yourself more back to yourself, inviting the shunned places that you've even created within yourself, perhaps, back to themselves. One cohesive hold. Inhale, when you're ready, place the hands down and press back to your table, right foot around the world, or heel to sit bone. Inhale, look up. Exhale, pull it in. Find your cat-cows at your own compassionate rhythm. It might be that you like to move quickly, but actually more slowly is more compassionate. If that all feels too much, this is an invitation to come into child's pose. Knees 2 to 3 inches outside the hips, forehead into the floor, arms extended straight. Smooth inhale, steady exhale. Then when you're ready, inhale, look forward and walk the hands carefully to the knees. Hands on the hips, rise up. Knees are outer hip width distance. So make sure you give yourself that spacious bandwidth here with them wide. And then we'll take hip circles one way, hugging ankles in, keeping a steadiness through the legs so we can soften the hips. Go the other way now. Smooth inhale, gentle exhale. Good job. Inhale, when you're ready, you're going to take your left foot forward. So lean your hips back. Feel that lumbar low back curvature like a blossom here. Take the hips now over the right knee. The left knee will get light and you can float the left foot forward in a lunge. Lift your spine or go around the world with that foot if that all felt too precarious. Honor yourself. All that you are, all that you've been through, all that you're going through. And give yourself this honoring through a tall, compassionate spine and breath. Lift your back foot up, right heel to right outer hip. Feel the back of your hamstring tone, that upper leg getting energized. Exhale, carefully place it down. Inhale, heel to sit bone, lift it up. Exhale, place it down. Inhale, lift it up. Exhale, place it down. Hips start to get heavier, heavier each time. Inhale up. Exhale, place it down. Inhale, last one, up. Weight the outer right knee. Feel the back thigh wrap in. Hips heavy, and then exhale down. Now this time as you lift it up once again, take the foot behind you to the left. Front knee bends to 90 degrees, extends the arms parallel to floor like wings. Deep inhale, lift your spine. Deep exhale, squeeze the knees to center. As you pull the knees and thighs to center, feel the right thigh wrap in. And then glide your left hip down and under till the left knee opens and softens to the left. With your smooth breath, stretch your middle fingers apart. Push your front heel down and forward and reach, extend and stretch that outer right knee back and down. Outer right hip back and down even. Last breath. Good. Left forearm to thigh, extended sun angle pose. Float the right arm out in front of you, extending the arm alongside the ear. Inhale, let the breath lengthen your spine. As you feel the length in the sides of the body, the rib cage stretching, pull your knees to center. Feel the back thigh roll in. Tuck your front hip under and push through your back knee from your pelvis, even push down and out the knees and front foot to take the posture into a deeper twist. Inhale, root down through your hips. Rise up, placing the hands on the hips. Bend your front knee 90 degrees here and then back out of 90. Pulling that left heel towards your left sit bone. Noticing the tone through the upper leg. Then you can stay here, keeping the hips rooting down, or it might be that the arms float up, shoulders and arm bones push back the sockets, and then extending the arms. Tone the belly a little bit by pulling it to the spine if you want to lean back, and there's no sensation of pinching or compression through the low back. If there is, reach it more straight and tone your belly. If you're leaning back, keep, again, that belly ignited. Last two breaths. Inhale, release the left foot down, extend the arms parallel to floor, and then find the hips. Lift your back right foot up. Take it behind you now, lined up with your sitting bone. Inhale, one more time. Arms float up, arm bones back, shoulders stay relaxed, gently releasing away from the ears. Then bringing yourself into this space, into this attitude of compassion. Align with this attitude. Feel and make your breath a reflection of this attitude. One more round of breath, smooth inhale, steady, present, exhale. Good. Touch down now, forward with your hands in front of your left toes. You're going to lift your back knee up, taking your hips high to the sky. Take one giant step or several with your right foot, finding Uttanasana at the front of your sticky mat. Bend your knees for a second. Find your props, blocks, pillows, stuffed animals, cans of something. Place your hands on them. Firm your legs by squeezing the inner kneecaps and pulling your heels towards your hips. Once you feel the tone of the legs through the front and the back planes of the legs, fold in half. If you don't need those props and the hamstrings or back aren't vulnerable, you can find the floor. Each breath as you exhale, see if you can keeping the legs strong and toning, skin to muscle, muscle to bone. Tuck the hips down like the lotus, unafraid to find that rooting, patterning, and energy through the hips. Then, keeping the legs firming, heels to sit bone, inner kneecaps rise. As the hips glide under, start to push through the legs more, making the legs straighter. Even if not totally straight, if the back's vulnerable, still do that pushing action, that rooting action. Finding the four corners of both feet as you do this. Inhale, when you're ready, bend the knees. Take the hands on the hips. Float the shoulder blades on the back of your lotus heart. And inhale, rise up. When you're ready, float the right arm out in front of you. Lift the spine and feel, like the quote I read earlier, all the feelings. Feel how all of you encompasses all these sensations of life. And then when you extend the arm up, exhale, reach over in a crescent-shaped position to the left. And feel yourself just welcoming it all into your body. Welcoming all parts of you into the experience of full embodiment. Pull the belly back, keep the legs strong. From your pelvis, push out your feet and lift up and out of those hips. Last breath, making your right foot, right hip particularly grounded. Inhale, stretch up. Exhale, other side, left arm parallel to floor. Lift your spine, just welcoming yourself, total compassion, shoulder back and away from your ear. Extend the arm up to the sky and then leaning over the other way to the right. As you totally hug to center with everything, float the hips down, push through your feet from your pelvis, root those legs strongly, and from your pelvis, lift the spine up and out of the hips. Wave-like inhale, add the watery breath. Flowing exhale. Make your left hip and left foot more strongly committed to the earth. Last breath. And inhale, when you're ready, float it up. We're going to now take a thigh stretch. And so find a wall if you need a wall, if balance is challenging for you, like so. You don't have to be on your sticky mat, just find a wall. And you're going to take your hips back and over, like we did earlier on, hips back and over your left ankle. So the gravity and the weight is totally on your left foot. Make sure the foundation, that left heel, is buried by widening that heel a little perhaps so you can't see it. Then take your right foot off the floor, squeeze the knees so they don't come apart, activating those adductor inner thigh muscles. And then inhale, lift your spine, feel the sides of the body from your hips through your armpits grow. You can stay here, phase one, or you can phase two. So I look like this from the side, heel to sit bone. I'll stay here if the knee were to be vulnerable. Phase two would be to extend the right arm forward like a sleepwalker. Pull the shoulder back like we did and away from your ear and grab the outside of your right foot. The knee will tend to meander, right? And open. And we want to hug into center, unafraid of going into that mud, pull down, knowing it's a part of life. And how do we make something of value, of beauty, and of service, that fragrance into the world? Pull the right foot towards your outer hip if you're pretty flexible in your quad and psoas. And breathe into any sensations of stretch through the right hip and thigh with compassion. Left hand would be on the wall. If I felt wobbly here, 2 more breaths. Stretch that right knee down to the floor. Extend the thigh bone out long from the hip. Good. Release. Second side. Well done. So balancing on your right foot, take a moment and lift the heel up a little. Meander it to the right a little and reroot it down like a strong lotus root. Then, when you're ready, hips flow back and then over that right ankle. The left foot should start to automatically get a little levity, lightness. Bend your left knee. Squeeze the knees to center. And if you need a wall, this is the time you would take a wall with that right hand. If you're here and you want to stay here, protecting that knee joint, don't go any further. Or you can float the left arm up, shoulder into socket away from ear, and grab the outside of the foot and pull the foot towards your outer left hip. But we don't compromise the knee touching factor, the thigh squeezing in factor. That keeps the low back safe. If we do this, there starts to get vulnerability and compression can happen. So do claim your knees and then compassionate breath, lift your spine. 2 more breaths. Think rooting the left knee down to the floor. I'm going to extend from my hip, the bone of my left leg long to increase the sense of stretch. And lift the sternum up. Blossom your lotus heart. Exhale, release it. Well done. Now we'll come onto our bellies. If the hip points are tender and you like to keep your cushion, blanket, or towel here, you're welcome to do that. Or you can take it to the side as you wish. We're going into cobras now and then to some locusts. So feel into this, what feels good and right for your body. And then come into Bhujangasana Cobra. Walk your hands alongside the chest. Turn them out a little bit so the index fingers point a tiny bit to the right and left, which will increase your capacity to open and blossom the shoulder heart. Then press your 10 finger pads into the floor like muddy roots. Lift your spine on an inhale and find length. Lifting the sides of the body up, the rib cage moving forward, the back of it. Stretch your big toes back, feeling that length through the whole body first. And then once you've made all that space, that's having compassion. Making space for all the feelings, all parts of you. Squeeze your legs and shoulder blades to the center. Lift your chest a little more and tone the belly, pulling it back. Tuck your pelvis under and feel that low back long. And if it doesn't feel long, come out of it halfway and reach through the crown. Pull the belly back, tuck your pelvis under, and see if you can feel the length. If it does feel great, push out through your pelvis, stretch your legs away from you, lift your spine up and out of the hips. Exhale, come down. Good. Now take the arms alongside the body for locust. Draw your chin down, walk the feet back, and inhale, hug your ankles in. Get length, again, welcome space, lifting the sides of the body, the back of the rib cage moves forward. The big toes stretch back. And then inhale, feel like the back plane, that posterior chain it's called of the body, is lifting up like there's a balloon or like almost like a float when you go in the swimming pool, yeah? And you're leaning back into that. Using and imploring the strength of the back body, pull your heels to your sit bones to lift the legs higher. Pull the belly away from the floor to keep that compassionate length through the lumbar spine. Stretch your fingertips in all directions to blossom your lotus heart. Extend your bones away from everything by stretching them in all directions. Exhale, come down. Inhale, we'll come onto our forearms now for Ardha Bhekasana, half frog pose. So you're going to bend your left elbow and prop the elbow up here with the palm clawing the floor and the forearm parallel to front edge of the sticky mat. Come high on your right fingertips. Inhale, reach the crown of the head forward. You're going to bend your back right knee, flex the foot like you're standing on the sky. And that would be where we'd like to stay and breathe to stretch the quad and hip if the knee's vulnerable. If it's not, extend the right arm forward, suck the shoulder back and away from your ear into the socket, and grab the foot like we did standing. Pull it in towards your outer hip. Like we did standing, you want the knees to hug into center, like they're trying to hold hands here. Deep inhale, compassionate exhale. Glide your hips down and blossom your lotus heart up. Last breath. Good. Release it down. We'll do the second side now. So this time it would be your right forearm parallel to the front edge of the sticky mat, elbow under shoulder, high on your left fingertips. Bend your left knee. Inhale. When you're ready, lift through the spine. Stay here, flex your left foot like you're standing on the sky, and stretch your outer left knee back. Phase 2, left arm out in front of you, pull the shoulder back away from your ear and grab the outside, that's the pinky toe side of the foot. Pull it in towards your outer hip, twisting a little bit to the right. Make the knees, everyone, move towards one another, like loving hands trying to hold. And then when you're ready, pelvis under, root the hips down into that muddy earth and blossom your lotus heart up. Stretch your back knee back, that outer left knee back away from you. Last breath as you pull the foot in. And then release, locust pose again. So arms alongside the body, palms face down. Inhale. Spread your fingers, lengthen your feet back by walking them back. Inhale, back chain of the body, lift it up. So think again of the sense of a float and lean like you're leaning into something behind you. Lift everything up. Hug your ankles a little more. Feel how that creates width through the hips. And then root your pubic bone down into the floor and stretch all the bones long, everything long away from you, making arms and legs straighter and straighter. Excellent. Exhale. Come to the hands and knees now. Now we're going to play with called kickstand chapasana is what I like to call this pose. And so you're going to take anything you got in the way of a strap or a belt and just do your best. And if you don't have one of these, it's fine. I'll talk you through it without it. If you do have one of these, take the strap or belt and just fold it in half like this. And then the little tails, there are two ends that are like a tail, just grab them with the palm up like that. So you've got a loop you've made here, and you're going to put your foot in there if you can. So slowly, you're going to gently come onto your right hand. And the loop that you have is going to be in your left. And then you're going to have your right knee on the floor, but the knee is not going to be lined up with the wrist. It's going to be lined up with your belly, like we did before when we were balancing. So move the right knee underneath your belly so it's to the inside of that right wrist. The wrist vulnerable. Take when you're ready. Curl your underside right toes under like an emergency brake and lift the left foot up. Then you're going to bend the left knee and draw the knee towards your face. Look at the knee. Point those toes and place the toes in that little loop you've made. And then when you're ready, carefully bend your left elbow, roll the shoulder back, and start to lean the foot back, squeezing the left elbow in towards your rib cage. Pull the belly into the spine and lean totally back. Root the left knee down to the floor. Stay here. Phase 2, if you're pretty open through the shoulder, you can point the left elbow forward alongside the ear to get a stretch at the base of the armpit. Pull the belly to the spine. Kick the left foot away from you. If all this is too much or you don't have that strap, simply take that left hand on your hip and bend the left knee and lean back. Belly to spine, last breath. Then if you've got the strap or not, simply release the left hand and place the left knee down into the floor. Take a moment in child's pose. Bring your knees 2 to 3 inches outside the hips. Point the toes. Make sure, please, that the feet don't overlap. Inner edges of feet. Touch hips, root. If the knees are vulnerable, you can take a blanket behind the knees, roll it like this, or a towel, even 2 washcloths, and stick them behind. Smooth inhale, soft, compassionate exhale. Inhale, slowly when you're ready, rise up. We'll come to the other side now. So you're going to be on your left hands and you're going to have, if you're working with a belt or a strap, it folded in half. You've got that loop you've made and it's in your right palm face up. Then find the earth. Again, that mud, the earth, unafraid, unabashed to claim it. Spread the left hand. Then you take your left knee underneath your navel. So it's really important that the knee is not lined up with your left palm, but it's to the inside, towards your navel. The left hand is to the outside of the sticky mat. Then curl your left toes under so you feel the earth, you feel that support. That's going to give you stability. And then when you're ready, right palm face up, lift your right foot off the floor and draw the right knee towards your navel and face. I can see my knee now and I'm going to point my right toes. Do the same, please, if you're working with a belt, and thread your right toes into the loop. Then keep squeezing the right knee down and kick the foot up and back. Squeeze your right elbow in towards your ribs and lean back. If you're not working with the strap, take your right hand on your hip. Pull the right heel to your sit bone, bend the knee, open it up. If you want to go a little more deeper through the chest, you can squeeze the top arm down, pointing your right elbow to the left fingertips and lean back. Everybody pull the belly to the spine. Then shine in all directions. Kick that right foot behind you, back, 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 away from you, and stretch. And just simply let go of the strap or the hip when you're ready. And one more time, we'll come back into Balasana, child's pose, with the knees wide today to get a release in that lumbar, low back spine. Placing something under the knees if they're vulnerable. Smooth inhale, steady exhale. Hug the knees to center. Let everything happen to you, the beauty and the terror, and just keep going. No feeling is final. Feel the waves of breath and this yogic truth, how everything is ephemeral, changing. That's the job of the world. And then we simply anchor ourselves in this truth that lives underneath all the waves of feeling, that there's an indomitable foundation of peace and power, of steadiness, called the self with a capital S. In this self, compassion is accessed at any moment. Inhale, we're going to thread now the right arm in child's pose underneath the left armpit. So you can take that right arm, stick it under the armpits, and you can lift the left shoulder up. If the third eye feels better on the floor, you can do that. Or you can even take your right cheek and side of the forehead to the floor. Compassionate breath. Hug the knees into center. Hug the hips and ankles into center. And then glide them under, feeling the weight of the hips, that rooting patterning. And exhale, you might feel the rising, ascending patterning from the rooting as the spine stretches forward, as the spine elongates. Inhale, come forward. We'll switch it out now. So take the left arm underneath the right armpit and then let the head go and twist to the other side. Or if it's not good for the cervical spine and feeling right that way, third eye can be on the floor. Hug the knees in, hug the hips in. Feeling that patterning of the lotus like rooting into the mud to pull nutrients and vitality and feel how that feeds the spine. 2 more breaths. Smooth inhale, steady, steady exhale. Inhale, walk your hands forward now, getting as much length as you possibly can. And then inhale, walk the hands to the knees, and you're going to rise up. Take any blocks or props behind you, like this, in case you need them in a moment. Stuffed animals, pillows, jars, whatever they are, behind you. Sit on a blanket or a towel to elevate your pelvis and hips. Then inhale, when you're ready, you're gonna stretch your left leg straight from your hips. Have your strap or belt ready, if you have one, to the outside of the left leg. Then bending your right knee, pointing the kneecap to the sky, open the hip in Jani Shirshasana. Feel you're working the right heel, not to the inner left thigh like a tree pose, but actually to the inner right thigh as best as you can. Even if you can't do that, the action is such that that will impact the hip. Place a towel or a washcloth behind the right knee if it's at all vulnerable. Then look at your left leg. Make sure it's not to the side, but it's lined up directly with your left hip point here. Add this element of rolling your upper inner thighs in and down to the floor, and that'll create a levity and lift in that lumbar spine that we want. If you're tighter in the left hamstring, you might see the knee bend, and dig the heel into the floor like we did in that lightning bolt shape before, and just get the leg as straight as you can with that action. Or same action, dig the left inner heel into the floor and pull it back. Phase 1 is taking your hands behind you onto those props that you have, maybe books even, and lift up. Gaze is forward and you're working the lift of the low back spine. Then pull the belly back and draw the chin to the chest, and you can stay here. If you can keep that lift easily and there's no sensation of pinching through the low back, there's no rounding, that's the other thing we don't want. If you don't have those things and it feels pretty easeful, grab your strap on the ball of your left foot, like reins, roll the strap around the hands, inhale, lift the lumbar spine, and then exhale, you can start to twist and fold over that left leg. Each inhale, scissor the legs to center. Each exhale, glide your hips down and under. And feel how the rooting of the hips actually lengthens the spine more forward towards your left foot. Smooth inhale. Compassionate wave-like exhale. Inhale, wherever you are, root down into your hips, lift up a little more through your chest, rising up, and exhale, we'll switch it out. So extend your right leg straight now, bend your left knee, point it to the sky. Really important and very common that the leg is straight from the front of your right hip point, and common that people tend to take it out, which impacts the low back not in a blossoming way. So line the heel up with the sit bone. As you bend the left knee, open it up. Remember, you're working that heel to the inner thigh with clarity, not like a tree pose, to the opposite thigh, to the same left thigh, left heel. Then roll the thighs in. Do that due diligence, which will increase that lift through the lumbar spine, that low back spine. And then look towards and turn, finding that right foot, and dig the right inner heel into the floor and pull it back. You might need to bend this right knee, particularly if you can't feel that lift through the low back. And there's a rounding, bend this knee and you'll get the lift. Press your right thigh bone into the floor more and find your blocks or props behind you, whatever you got. You might even just take your hands and press those finger pads into the earth. Smooth inhale, keep lifting the lower back. Gentle exhale, keep relaxing your face and your hips. If you're here and there's no rounding through the low back and it doesn't feel extremely tight, you can take your strap or belt tie and place it on the ball of the right foot. Everybody, inhale, lift your spine, root your hips. Exhale, keep the hips and pelvis tucking and drawing down as you fold over your front leg, or again, keeping your spine tall. If that's the more compassionate act, that's the one to align with. Wave-like breath, smooth inhale. Compassionate exhale. Welcome yourself, breath by breath, and all parts of you towards a place of more wholeness. Inhale when you're ready, root down through the hips, rise up through the spine, wherever you are, and you can take your belt, if you have it, to the side. One more time, extend your left leg straight, lined up with the front of that left hip point. Bend your right knee, pointing it to the sky. Good. This time you're going to inhale, lift the low back, and find the four corners of this right foot. If the knee is not vulnerable on the right, you can pull the heel way in towards your right sit bone. And then inhale, everyone, wherever you are. Lift the low back. Extend your right arm to the sky, and exhale, float the arm forward. like we did several times. Root the shoulder into the socket away from the ear. Then bend your right elbow, and you're placing the right upper arm to the inside of that right leg. You're going to squeeze the right leg in towards your right arm and twist on an exhale to the left. You're high on your left fingertips. Same action, rooting down through the pelvis to rise up through the spine. So find that connection, that lotus patterning. Rooting through your roots, which are your legs and hips. Exhale, lifting out of your pelvis, up and shining out through your elbows by bending them a little bit more. Lean a little more towards that left hip, bend your left elbow a little more. Keep that right knee hugging in. Inhale, release, well done. Good job, second side. Bend your left knee. If the knee is not vulnerable, pull the heel way towards your sit bone. If it is, have it more forward. You can always place something under it. Inhale, make sure that right leg is extending straight out from the right hip point. The heel shouldn't be wider than the hip point. Roll your thighs in. Inhale, reach through your left arm. You're leaning onto your right fingertips. And then when you're ready, bend the left elbow. Pull the left shoulder back and away from your ear, and then squeeze the left knee in towards your left upper arm as you twist away from it to the right. Compassis. To be with, to feel with, to have compassion, to suffer with, to celebrate with. Notice where it feels tight in your body and have compassion by breathing with it, feeling into it. As you root your hips down more and rise up through your spine, notice where it feels loose and free in your body. And celebrate that with your breath too. Bend your left elbow a little bit more and press your elbows wide and feel how that lifts your spine. And last breath, lean onto your right hip. Last breath a little more. And then inhale. When you're ready, stretch the legs straight, bend the knees, and just, you can shake out the body a little bit. Just gentle release of the knees, maybe a little release of the arms, just whatever feels right in the way of movement before we sit for our 1-minute mindfulness meditation. Then once you've gotten any little last bits of energy shaken out, you can come to your comfortable seat, still sitting on something. Roll your thighs downward. And you can gently bring your palms at heart center, open up the middle 3 fingers in your lotus position. Root the lotus form of the hands into your heart. And for 1 minute, with your lips slightly open, like you're drinking in and out of a straw, breathe into your lotus cup and out. Filling your cup up with a compassionate breath, with your own healing energy. Feel the air on your fingertips, your own healing life force in the form of your breath, moving in and out of your lotus cup. Then you're welcome to gently release the palms, and you can lie flat or you can stay seated. For this final time, stay with the breath, and if it helps you to open the mouth a little bit, feeling that cooling energy and temperature in your breath, you're welcome to do that. If thoughts come, return them to the breath. That breath that's always with you. Feel it as you rest. Slowly, wherever you are, sweetly move the hands and fingertips just a little bit. And then once again, turn towards your self and your breath with an attitude of compassion. Let your breath be filled with that quality. And then if you're on your back, you can stretch your arms and legs in any way that feels right. If you're seated, do the same. And bring your back to one side or the other and roll up to a seat. If you're seated, you can switch the cross of the shins. Palms at heart center. Once again, opening those 3 fingers into that lotus blossom of the heart. We'll sing the sounds of Om, the sound of knowing, like the water washing over the shores. No feeling is final. Life is ephemeral. And we can anchor ourselves in this practice of compassion, of just being with everything and rooting into our breath, rooting into this breath that is a raft that helps us ride these waves. 1 Om, sealing your practice. Inhale. Om. Namaste. Thank you for sharing your practice with